It is the pre-match meal. It is John Gibbons here with Phil Blundell in Reds Bar. And for those of you who are enjoying this for free, who don't subscribe to the Anfield Wrap, pre-match meal is a Champions League preview where for away games we tend to go to a restaurant of the country that Liverpool are playing in. So we're playing an Italian team, we'll go to an Italian restaurant, we're playing a Spanish team, a Spanish place, that sort of thing. You'll see why I come up with this, Phil.
I can't wait till we get Karabag, you know. You've got to find an Azerbaijani restaurant.
There'll be somewhere. If you know one, let me know. I will travel. But for home games, we just tend to go to pubs that we like and that we enjoy in the city. And this one is the fantastic Reds Bar, which is on Exchange Street East. You might not know it yet, even if you are a Scouser, because it's been open less than a month, but it's absolutely brilliant. The memorabilia they have here is superb. We've got some amazing food into us, which we're going to tuck into and talk about Liverpool v Real Madrid, which is one of the biggest games in world football.
It is, but it's a bit weird because Liverpool's excellence has sort of made it so that it, from our point of view, sort of isn't. In that everyone saw it, the draw was done. It's like we've got Real Madrid at home. This is going to be huge. You know, it's come out. It's like we're on 12 points. We're really likely to come in the top 8. They're not within sort of striking distance of us in the league, and we've obviously got a big game on Sunday. So you're sort of like, hang on, this is big, but it's not like live or die thing, which is sort of how you probably thought it would be when the fixtures came out, which is quite nice.
It is nice. I think, like you say, when the fixtures came out, it was the one you immediately had the eye on. Yeah, there was Leverkusen for the Alonso thing and stuff like that, but it was, that's the big one. It doesn't feel quite as big in terms of the importance of the group. You'd back Liverpool, whatever happens on Wednesday, to go through, but I just think as we approach in and when we get in there, and it's all red, we all white, and everything around there. You've got Mbappe up against Conor Bradley. I think it's all going to take over, and I think once the game starts, I'm not going to be too worried about the group position and stuff like that. It'll be all like, I want to win this game.
Oh no, absolutely. You've got to sort of make a point of going, hang on, you beat us in 2 Champions League finals, you've knocked us out in a last 16 game. We'd quite like to win one of these and beat them, and it's never going to be revenge winning a group game, is it? But you can sort of put down a marker to show that you can beat them, and we might have to play them after Christmas in a knockout game. We won't play them again in March, just because of how this works. So you've got to go out and go, well, we can do this, and we know we can do this, and we think we can do this, and it's sort of a bit of a mental block on it, because I remember when they came a couple of years ago, and I sort of felt like I imagine an Evertonian feels against Liverpool, that it's just a bit like, we're 2-1 up, and then Alisson kicks the ball at Vinicius and it loops over his head, and all of a sudden it's like, it was a fun 10 minutes. But we're not allowed nice things in this situation.
Darwin scores a gorgeous goal.
It's a great goal, isn't it? It's one of Salah's little
great lost goals
outside of his right foot. But yeah, it's one of those where I'm very excited, and I'm not really subscribing to this idea that it doesn't matter and you can play who you want and just worry about it after and focus on Sunday. Because while we're top now, we probably won't be top at kickoff because of the games tonight. And if we were to get beat, it'd be 6th or 7th. Probably when you look at the games, maybe 5th. That's still not, you got a draw in Girona, and all of a sudden you're probably 7th or 8th, and you're thinking, okay, right, well, we need to win our last 2 now. Whereas I don't want to need to win our last 2. I want feet up and make January a lot quieter and a lot easier than it looks like it could be. Yeah, no, that is it. And we're set up at the moment because of how well we have done for these games in January to matter a little bit, but be able to rest people because of the opposition as well. You'd back Liverpool, a changed Liverpool. Listen, the squad have done well this season. You'd back a changed Liverpool to still pick up points if they did need sort of 1 or 2. But the fact is, we're the only team on 12. We're in a really strong position. You look at the teams on 10 as well, and you imagine that they're likely to sort of fall away a little bit. They're ahead of par in terms of what you'd sort of expected. Then there's some decent teams on 9, Barcelona sort of being one, but actually most of the top clubs, not unlike Real Madrid, are actually a little bit behind. So it does sit really lovely for Liverpool in terms of the group. But I agree with you in that, a win just feels big all round for me if they can win the game, because going into Sunday, which is a massive game, I just think Slot doing another big thing as manager or coach or whatever you want to call him, is big as well. I think that Leverkusen one was a real statement performance because, a lot was made before of Alonso was first choice, and I think Slot was even referred to as third choice at sort of one point, which was maybe news to him, but he doesn't seem to let it bother him. He's got the
the self-confidence of a man who doesn't worry
Yeah.
about stuff like that, is he? But I think but I thought Leverkusen was big for him to dismantle a side who barely lost, in a year and a half. For him to do that, I thought it was bigger than 3 points in this context. And I think a win against Real Madrid in this context will be bigger than that too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing sort of different things on a weekly basis in terms like we go to Arsenal, we go behind twice, we come back. We go to Southampton on Sunday and they're a team who are far inferior to us and we find ourselves behind, come back and win. And Chelsea equalised, you go and beat Chelsea. Now you've got a big European team coming to town. It's a new challenge. Not to do down Leverkusen or Bologna, the two teams you played, but Real Madrid on a different level to anybody else in world football. That
even with
from
the
this country,
injuries,
really. Even with the injuries, and again that's a boost for us as well. Their situation, it probably means Mbappe's going to play where he wants to play. But again, these challenges are what this manager signs up for. It's what we're in it for as fans. It's what we don't go to Anfield to go, oh, it doesn't really matter. If that's your view, then I don't really get what you're in this for. It's a big game, and all right, there's a limited downside if we don't win, relative to most other times. But still, you don't get many opportunities to beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, with a bit of pressure off.
We played them about 7 times in 40 odd years. Don't get many chances.
Yeah, no, that is completely fair. Their fans will help make it as well. They're sort of almost better than you'd imagine. Wales fans, I think in my head it was it's capital city, they're a massive club, they won everything, they'll turn up and sort of not be bothered, but
they have taken a small allocation now, I think.
Half day,
it's a bit of a shame,
which is a little bit of a shame, but they will have a go. And
yeah.
I mean, part of these European nights is the sort of travel and support, but I think even in sort of home games, they'll get the white hankies out if they're not happy. But in terms of when they feel they're needed, they will create something as well.
100%. It's a massive club. I mean, I think it looks great in the Bernabeu and it's a big game and they're all behind one of the goals and they're all dressed in white. You don't really associate that kind of thing with Spanish football, and I'm sort of quite into that. It's more of you might see it in France, you might see it in Germany, you might see something like that in Italy. But Spain is a little bit different. You don't have any culture of domestic away travel, for example. That's just not a thing. So everything is focused on the home game and big games. But
what you do,
it's nice that they get to come and they come. They're looking at it and going, hang on, this is Anfield. We sort of forget, because we support Liverpool, how people view Anfield.
Well, last time we played it was behind closed doors as well, wasn't it?
No. We played them. It was more recently when we played them in the 5-2 was more recently.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I'd forgot about the closed doors.
Yeah, there was the closed doors, so what as well. But like you say, if you're playing in finals or you're playing in behind closed doors, if you maybe didn't make it to that one, then it might be your first trip. If you were knocking about in 2009 when we did win 4-0.
We did. I forgot about that one. I don't know. I can't remember how many times we played them, but it's not that many. It's going to be a big night. I think it's what we're in it for as fans. I think this kind of thing, and you just got to look at it. I sort of feel like it's sort of being viewed through a prism of Sunday as well, in terms of that's taking a little bit of heat off it. I think if we were playing Southampton at home on Sunday, for example, as opposed to Manchester City, people would be a bit more. It reminds me a bit of when we played Everton in Benitez's first season just before Olympiacos, and we just expect some people just expected to turn up and beat Olympiacos quite comfortably, and it's the derby on Saturday, Goodison derby on Saturday, and there was no sort of focus on it. Obviously, they went 1-0 up, and all of a sudden it was hang on, we need to win this, and it was one of Anfield's most famous nights. But I think the closeness of it's probably knocked a little bit of shine off it, but I don't particularly care about that myself. It's going to be great.
And I think once it starts, that'll be forgotten, and the Salah stuff will all be forgotten. Obviously, that's been a lot of noise sort of the last couple of days, but when the team step onto the pitch, all that matters is the result, and that's all that matters to the fans as well. And I think Mo Salah will be aware of the storm and would have known before he did it, and we all want to show that there's no distracting me at the moment as well.
That's the thing with what he's done. It does a number of things, but he does put a little bit of pressure on himself as well, because he's basically saying, as far as I'm concerned, I want this, and they're willing to say this. And the reason they haven't offered, the reason there's been no offer, is because it doesn't meet up. Obviously, presumably doesn't meet up close enough to make an offer at this stage worthwhile. Because I think you see in Cy Hughes' book, there's a bit on sort of how complex the last contract was for example. So it's
But it was studied in the Harvard Business School. It was that complicated.
Exactly. It's going to be the same this time around. So the idea is just a case of get a piece of paper out, write a number on it, write an expiry date, and go, yeah, there you go. And he goes, sound, that'll do. It's not a thing, is it? But what he has done with this is he's gone, well, my terms are valid. He's got to now back that up really, really aggressively, because contracts for me aren't seen as rewards what you've done. They are backing you to do what you're doing now into the future. And he's a 32-year-old, so he has to keep doing it. He has to keep performing it. Otherwise, Liverpool can't really afford a 350 grand a week footballer on the bench. You just can't afford that. So he's got to now do it, and I back him to do it, of course I do. But he still has to do it, and he's put a bit of pressure on himself, and all power to him, fair play to him. He backs himself. Sorry, John.
No, you're all right. I thought you were done.
I did as well, to be fair.
One more point. Listen, we're going to have a break now. You're going to see a couple of ads. We're going to dive into these sliders because they look incredible. I'm going to ask Phil to pick me a team. He might put Salah in. Who knows? He might bench him in his outburst. That'll be fun. I'm going to also ask him for a prediction as well, so you can get thinking about that. But yeah, we'll have a slider. You watch the ads. Enjoy.
Everything the Anfield Wrap does this week is free. Every show, audio or video, we are putting out so you can get a good taste of the flavour of the Anfield Wrap as this season heats up. Obviously we're doing that because we want you to subscribe, so if you've done that in the past and you're thinking about coming back to us, then now will be a great time. And if you have never done it before, then also think about it now as well. We're approaching December, it's the crunch time of the campaign. It is the Anfield Wrap, therefore your pre-match, during the match, post-match, we've got you covered. Enjoy the week.
We've had a slider each, very good, tucked into the chips, but we'll pause because the serious business, Phil, you are picking the team. Imagine if this was it.
Imagine
Slot's
just walk. He's down there having a pint and he's got a bit of paper out and he's walked over and gone, tell you what boys, pick me the team. I know they're training pretty much now, but he doesn't have to technically be there. The others can do that. He can come and have a slider.
Come sit down, have a slider.
Look at some of the old memorabilia.
It's like when we follow him was good. Yeah. Can't pick him. There's a number 12 shirt over there, which could be anybody's. I reckon it's David Fairclough.
I think you might be right. I think that would be the most logical one, wouldn't it? But, anyway, sorry. Got distracted by imagining I was actually picking the team, so now I'm going to pretend to pick the team. So I think it'd be Keller in goal, obviously. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. I think 3 of the back 4 picks itself, and Tsimikas is injured, so that's going to be Robertson, Canate and Van Dijk. So I think he might go Joe Gomez.
Do you?
Right back.
I thought you were going to throw a little Trent Diddle in there because he's trained today.
Yeah, he has, but I sort of think... I think he's probably got to be aware that he's probably not ready to start tomorrow. He's probably...
The last thing you want is him getting torn apart by Mbappe.
You don't bring a player back for injury, put him right back up against Kylian Mbappe. You just don't do it. I also think it's a little bit unfair on Bradley having had his first 90 minutes of the season for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Well, first Premier League 90 minutes. I think he's probably done it in the League Cup, but his first Premier League 90 minutes to then go, I tell you what, you're coming out 3 days later and you're going to play against Mbappe. So I think also Joe Gomez is quick as well. And one of Mbappe's biggest assets is his pace. So I think that might happen. I think
it's a good show. I wouldn't have even thought about it, but I think it's a good show.
I think it's the only situation where I would probably have played him right back.
There's a size thing as well, because Mbappe's a big lad, and I think like Gomez...
He's powerful.
Yeah.
And obviously he's very good, but it also means that you're really well covered on that right-hand side. Because it's going to be, with the way their injuries are, they're going to be playing, I think it's probably going to be that Endrick and Gula up front. So it's very much, there's a focal area where their attacks are going to go down, where they're going to try and target with the ball, and people like Bellingham are going to be looking at that one. Whereas if you've got 2 very good defenders there, you just feel a little bit more secure. So I say he'll do it. It's just it feels the most logical to me.
No, it's a decent shout. That is a decent shout. Okay, so in midfield. It's 3 from 4.
So I think McAllister starts because he didn't start on Sunday.
Yeah, I think he's a banker. I think he's a banker as well.
And then I think it's Jones. I think the way the game will be on Sunday, I think means you want to start Szoboszlai on Sunday. And as a consequence, Curtis Jones obviously goes off after 60 minutes. I think said this a few times where you're trying to work out what the manager's doing. And I think I've got some of the forward line nailed, but I'm not quite. Like, he makes subs in the midfield, and you're like, well, that means that on Sunday, and it's not quite like that.
On Jones, I felt it was the first time he looked a bit tired from the baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it was one of them where, Sam will know he's filming this. He's had 2 as well. And, like, at first, you're like, I'm doing all right here on no sleep. And then a couple of weeks in it hits him. He looked a bit tired to me, sort of, Jones. So I think that was more why he sort of got took off. I think he's had a way with the manager before.
Entirely possible. Again, just trying to work it out.
But I would pick him in this game because I think if it was away, I'd be tempted to maybe go Sabostai. I think with Jones, I really like Curtis Jones, obviously, picked him up for ages, but I think where sometimes he struggles is if the other team are on top. I don't mean he helps us as much as he could to get us sort of back on top. But I think in this game, I think we will be seeing plenty of the ball. I think the platform he's got from the other two, I think, is set up for him to do well, so I'd pick him.
Since today, he's got the highest pass completion rate in the league or something.
It's
stupid,
ridiculous.
Just
doesn't give it away.
He doesn't... His strength is so impressive, his use of the ball is impressive, his awareness of what's going on around him is really impressive. He's had an excellent season, and I don't think you just thought in when this draw was made, you're probably not thinking, well, he'll definitely start, and I think I'm pretty sure he'll start. So absolutely fair play.
But he doesn't pick him first few games,
exactly.
And then he gets injured, and then so you think, well, you're starting to worry about him a little bit. But how well he's done.
It's like the first time he hasn't got injured at an inopportune moment. You think about him getting injured at Brentford last season, the week before the cup final, and just a bit like, oh, come on, that's so frustrating for him, and he just needs a bit of luck now, and hopefully he's getting that little bit of luck because I think he's an important player for us. Just
massively.
We
haven't got that many midfielders.
Exactly. We've seen the last month just how good he is, and I was made up for him going away with England and scoring. Because
nice goal as well.
It was a lovely goal, and it shows a huge level of confidence to do that as well, away from home in what was a pretty noisy environment. To just go away from home and do that just feels like play you back yourself. I'm backing it.
Up front then, come on, up top, who you going?
I don't think Salah will start anyway. Salah's going to start. So I think Gakpo went off because I think he's starting left wing.
Yeah.
I think Diaz up. I think it'll be the same as Leverkusen, to be honest. I think it'll be that. And then,
good Diaz now.
Yeah, and then I think at the weekend, Gakpo goes out and Nunes comes in. I think it sort of makes a bit of sense with how I think the game might be, and I think that's the front three I would want on Sunday. And I think the front threes feel like those 3 players are rotating between the 2 positions in an interesting manner at the minute, that it feels a bit like that's what he's trying to do.
Well, Diaz being able to play 9 opens up opportunities, doesn't it? Because otherwise, you just be playing Darwin all the time.
I'd start, and then this isn't the criticism by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think a little bit of the praise for the Leverkusen game went a little bit too far.
Really?
But it was all like, well, he scored a hat-trick, but he scored 2 of the goals after he was back on the left wing, after we'd made a sub and changed things, so it's not quite
it's a striker's goal, that first one there. The movement and the finish.
The ball from Jones is brilliant, the finish is absolutely fantastic, don't get me wrong, it's not a criticism, but it's like, I saw people yesterday and the day before going, well, maybe that should just be the first choice strike force.
Yeah, it's not as easy as that.
It's a bit like I think I'm alright, because he did only have, I think he had 2 shots before the 80th minute, which is, you want a striker to have more shots, but I suppose that is sort of a problem we are having at the minute, in that Liverpool strikers just, and it's been from the start of the season.
Jota was the same, yeah.
Like, we weren't having, the strikers aren't getting chances massively creative for them. Like, there was one late on the other day where Szoboszlai could have just played Nunes through one-on-one with the keeper on about the halfway line, and we chose not to, and it was really peculiar, I thought, but it feels like there's a level of instruction about not trying to spring people there and keep the ball and allow people to regain the structure behind them. So it sort of makes sense, but it does work against the strikers in some way. And there's going to be a happy medium, because at some point we're going to have to create more chances for the strikers here at some point, I think, because once the games come thick and fast, you basically just want your strikers in a tight game putting a chance away. So let's see what happens, but that's the team I'm doing anyway.
Are we going to win?
Yeah, I think we will.
I think you've talked me into it with that team.
2-1. I think 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, I think I did a couple of videos yesterday for Green King. I did like 2-1 in the first one, and then saw all the injuries and did 2-0 in the second one, because that's the sort of redo it. But I just think, did a few outs and stuff like that.
The defence is not looking particularly tight. I mean, there's a young centre-back, I think.
Yeah.
Right back, I can't remember the name of.
I mean, listen, they'll all be good players because they're
Of course
average,
they will, I
but
think.
like, I'm confident going
Well, there was
into
something from Florentino Perez who reeled off how many Real Madrid academy players are playing around the world. And I think he's slightly embellished it because I think he included Vinicius.
Tony Nunes.
I think, yeah. Like, he's included fellas they've signed from Brazil at the age of 17. And I'm like, I think, I don't quite agree with you there, Florentino. But yeah, it's big game, big night.
Big game, big night. Enjoy it wherever you go. If you go to Anfield, obviously get behind the boys. But if you're watching in town, maybe come here. It's a fantastic place. The screens are fucking absolutely everywhere. Or if you just want a pre-match meal yourself tomorrow, I'd recommend the sliders too. We're really stuck into this. But thanks for joining us. We do this every Champions League game if you're enjoying it for free on our subscription service. So thanks to Sam, to filming, and Reds for having us. Up to Reds.
It is the free week on the Anfield Wrap. All the audio and all the video shows are available for free, and by now you should be getting a little bit of a flavour of them as we look back on the Southampton game and begin to look ahead to the Real Madrid game. Everything that you need in all those directions, game after game after game through the season with the Anfield Wrap, and what an exciting season in store. Download the app, check it all out, enjoy it, or enjoy it on the platform of your choice. It's the Anfield Wrap's free week.